Alfred Théodore Joseph Bastien, the 16th of September 1873, in Ixelles the 7th of June 1955, in Uccle, was a Belgian artist, academic, and soldier. He won the Prix Godecharle there in 1897. He traveled to Paris, where he enrolled in the École des Beaux-Arts in Paris. He was in Paris when hostilities broke out in what would become the First World War. In July-August 1918, Lieutenant Bastien was attached as a war artist to the Canadian 22nd Battalion. Some of the work he created in this period is part of the Beaverbrook collection of war art at the Canadian War Museum in Ottawa. In the Belgian Army, after serving in the Garde Civique, like many other Belgians, Bastien fled to Great Britain after the fall of Antwerp in October 1914 and despite his age, 43, volunteered for the Belgian Army. He was eventually transferred to the Section Artistique in Nieuwpoort along with many of his pre-war artist friends and acquaintances. From 1915 onwards, he made many drawings and sketches of the situation on and behind the Belgian lines on the Weser River. The British wartime magazine, The Illustrated War News, among others, regularly published his work, quite often in distinctive and semi-panoramic, multicolor two-page spreads. In 1917, on personal request by Lord Beaverbrook, who owned several of Bastien's pre-war paintings, he was seconded to the Canadian Army until September 1918. During which time he produced many works of art specifically related to the Canadian War experience. After the war, Alfred Bastien painted a grand panorama of the Weser front in 19th-century tradition, a project which he had been planning since 1914 and which, according to his own telling, had been suggested to him by King Albert in 1914. During his wartime service in the Belgian Army, Bastien made many sketches, drawings and photos which were later either incorporated into the panorama itself or were useful studies in technique and effects. The panorama opened at Ostend in 1926. Financially, the panorama was great success, both for Bastien, who received a tremendous fee for the painting, for the consortium of businessmen and banks which provided funds and capital, and for the city of Ostend which provided real estate and a newly constructed building to house the panorama. The initial investment was repaid many times over, from entrance fees and from, by modern standards, modest merchandising of postcards and prints. While on exhibition in Brussels until 1925, it is estimated that more than 800,000 customers visited the panorama, amongst them many of the crowned heads of Europe, presidents and foreign emperors alike, all to great acclaim by the news media. In completing a work of such dimensions, it is obvious that Bastien could not do all the painting himself. Several of his wartime friends and fellow artists from the Section Artistique participated in this grand project. The initial sketching in of the broad outline in charcoal of the panorama took about a week's time to complete, while the actual painting and varnishing took 1 year's time. The panorama was set up in a circle, with paying spectators having a viewing place in the center. Careful attention was given to the lighting effects and the placement of objects in the foreground, in order to create a more believable optical illusion. Part of this panorama, which depicted the massacre of Belgian civilians in Dinant in August 1914, was deliberately destroyed by German authorities during the 1940–44 occupation.
you.